We're live. It's episode 163. William's here. I'm here. The dog is also here, though you can't see him. Let's do our sponsor shout out. There's a lot of stuff going on in September. It's actually crazy. 15A.com for all of your testing needs. Use code #SHITHAPPENS for $5 off the crypto panel. 15A.com. Shane Kelley, Small Town Xotics. He is getting ready to go to Canada for the CRBE for the Red Line road trip with Steven. I'm sure they're going to be living it up, living the dream. I was looking at the map earlier with Shane, and there's going to be a lot of stuff going on at CRBE. So if you're a Canadian person and you see a Shane in the wild, please tag Holdback Rack on Instagram. We'll repost that. And he'll be at Charlotte ARPE on September 21st and 22nd. Bravo Zulu Pythons. Rusted Anchor Co. will be at the Midwest Reptile Show this weekend, one-day show at the Indiana State Fairgrounds September 8th. And they will also be at Colubrid Fest. Thank you, Bravo Zulu Pythons. Stoneage Pythons, he's just living his best life in the Pacific Northwest breeding ball pythons. And he's actually going to Oregon Exotic Ball's wedding, which is very cool. Hopefully they make lots of baby balls. Literally human babies. Congratulations, Oregon Exotic Balls. Andrew is also going to CRBE. So if you also see Andrew and you hug him or whatever, he's gigantic. Take a picture, tag me on Instagram, please. I would love a slurry of tags from CRBE. That would be very fun. And he's living his best life, doing breeding ball pythons, leopard rodents, gopher cocoa, and other fun species. And he will be adding new animals to Morph Market soon. And he's doing the Spokane show on the 28th, which is coming up so fast. There's so many shows in September. It's crazy. Gray Family Snakes, they're at the Huntsville Repticon this weekend. They're expecting an Xanthic Clown Clutch to hatch any day now. And they will also be at the Charlotte ARP on September 21st and 22nd. And as for Chris at BNS Reptilia, the Costa Ricans are ready to ship. Tarahumars are getting ready. The Longicauda didn't work out, but that's okay. There's always next year. And lots of colubrids coming down the pipes. And he will be at Oaks on September 7th and the Lehigh Valley Show on September 15th. And he's going to CRBE. So also tag me for Chris. All right, I think I did it. That's so much. Will, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
That's good. Is it always weird that I have to ask how people are doing, even though we totally already talked before? Is that weird?
I mean, I just got off the conference call from hell. So, you know what? Anything short of being in the hospital is great.
Okay, good. The hospital? Were you in the hospital?
No. I mean, I work for a health system. So,
okay.
Everything's about the hospital.
Good. All right. Now's the time for your elevator pitch for your business. You ready?
Yeah. So, you know, I run C&C Python Factory where we make wonderful pets and breeders. I've been doing this for 3.5 years now. I'm having a blast. Made a ton of dumb mistakes. So, you know, you ask me on the side, I'll tell you everything I did wrong and things you should avoid. But I'm just looking to have fun and enjoy doing this and hopefully put some snakes in good homes along the way.
Do you have the ambition of like being full-time snake breeder, or are you just like having fun?
You know what? I want this to be sustainable. I don't know if I want it to be full-time. If I'm just like lounging around in my basement all day, I think I'd lose my mind at some point, right? Because I'll never go outside and see people.
Right.
I mean, as it is now, I work from home. It's 3 days a week, 3 days a month that I have to go into the office. But, you know, it's like a 4-hour round trip. Well, whenever I'm in the office. So that's pretty miserable too. But, you know, I like seeing people and talking to them at least for a little while.
Mm-hmm. Do you think a reptile show could replicate that experience, or do you think reptile shows are too weird because you have to be on?
You know what? They're exhausting. Right?
I know, it's the worst.
You know, I finally figured out a system where I'm packing up the snakes the night before because down in my basement it's like 77 is close to 80, so that they're okay for the night. But I wake up like 3:34 in the morning and pick everything out, pack them, mark them, and then I'm driving 2.5, 3 hours to vend the show, and then I have to somehow make it home without driving into a tree on the way back. So yeah, it's tiring, and then I have to go to work on Monday. So 10, 12 shows a year, I think I can handle that, but I can't be one of those show warriors that's there at like every show.
Mm-hmm. And these are one-day shows, right?
Yeah, these are one-day shows. I signed up for Repticon in Baltimore. That's at the end of September, and that's a 2-day show. So that'll be a first for me.
Are you excited about it? Because you can kind of rest because you have a hotel at least the night, Saturday night.
Well, it's 2 nights in a hotel, and I think it's only recently that I've gotten to a place where I'm actually profitable at these shows. Mm-hmm. There are such long wait lists at the local shows. The second I got a table, I just kept going, even though I wasn't ready for it because I wasn't going to give that table up. Mm-hmm. Little did I know I could have gotten a table anytime I wanted. But, it's been like 1.5, 2 years.
Chris says you should vend White Plains. Have you thought about vending White Plains?
I'm tempted to, but the New York State regulations are so onerous. I don't want to do it because I'd have to get the tax certificate and then have to file on that quarterly. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
I will drive my sorry ass to Pennsylvania and vend there. It's a lot easier.
And further south, do you want to do the Virginia Beach Show Me show, or you said you don't want to be a road warrior, but to get 12 shows a year, you might be doing a little bit of road warrior-ing.
Well, I mean, Oaks is where I go wherever they're on, and that's every other month. So that's 6 shows a year.
Every other month? That's crazy.
But that's also a show that's hot and cold. I remember I was there one day, and Outback was there. So I asked Ian how he's doing, and he's like, yeah, I'm selling everything except for ball pythons. And I look at my table that only has ball pythons. I'm like, fuck. So that happens.
Are there any strategies you think are helping you do better as you experience more shows?
Yeah, I'm learning to. Right, I did my first show. I didn't have any lights. I didn't have a tablecloth. Everything was in 15-quart tubs. And I look back and I'm like, oh, that's god awful. I wouldn't buy from me. Mm-hmm. Because I look at that stuff and I judge it. It looks like they're not prepared. But, I didn't know any better. So, I got a couple of vendors lend me some stuff. I think I sold 3 or 4 snakes that day. And I learned, but with each passing show, it's gotten a little bit better, right? I've upgraded displays. I got a tablecloth. I have business cards. I have stickers. I have shirts because they're fun. And 2 or 3 shows back, I had a vendor come and compliment me. It's like, oh, you've really gone a long way from where you started. And that was really nice because I've worked hard and I've spent money. It's been time and effort. Mm-hmm. So to be recognized for it, it's nice.
That's good. Yeah. I don't know how to contextualize this in a polite way, but there's something if anyone puts in effort to get better each time incrementally, you can be rewarded by the reptile hobby. I think people are yeah, well, you're trying. That's pretty good. The people who literally never try anything, Like those people get weeded out eventually. It's the trying part. You don't have to have perfect execution, but the trying part, I think, counts a lot. And people see that. So that's really nice, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I just really enjoy working with snakes and ball pythons in particular, right? I have like 18 different species of snakes that I keep, but I only breed ball pythons. As I'm raising BCI and hog noses to eventually breed. But right now, it's only ball pythons. But I really enjoy working with them. So I don't mind not having anything else. Every once in a while, I'll bring out one of the ball pythons that are special needs, and I'll bring them to a show and let people hold them, like, and I'll tell them, like, as a breeder, like the snake is useless to me, but it's a reminder of why I work with these animals, that they do have a will to survive, and it's also nice as an educational tool. So it brings people to the table. It gets them talking, even if they don't buy anything. I get to teach them a little.
That's good. That's nice. I'm glad you do that. I don't want to do that. I don't have time. Oh God. So you do want an expansion of species. Is it just BCI and hognoses, or are you like curious about other stuff?
I'm not quite ready to venture into the realm of colubrids and breeding them just yet, right? I keep plenty of them. I just don't know how far I want to go into breeding them. Well, in another month and a half, I should have a Wilbeck's incubator. So if I wanted to, I could start to brumate them and start that breeding process. But even like with the hogs, if I'm going to spend 2 or 3 years raising these things, and my one that thinks everything is food, Karen, just eats her boyfriend, I'm going to be pissed.
Mm-hmm.
It's that type of thing. Like, I have a bunch of king snakes. I don't want them eating each other. So, but good thing, I talk to Chris from BNS on a regular basis. So that's someone who can help me work through these things.
Yeah, you gotta rip off the Band-Aid to like try. It's not all that bad. It is a possibility, but it's not like every time they just eat each other. Yeah. Otherwise, there would be no baby king snakes left.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is for my pets. I don't necessarily want to just put them away for 12 weeks and not see them. I think that.
Oh, come on, that's fun. That's the best part.
Well, you know what it is? They're so much cheaper to feed than the ball pythons are, especially the young ones. I'm like, I don't mind having them awake and feeding them.
Yeah, I don't brumate baby colubrids, but like when you can put down to brumation 100 adult colubrids, and you basically get 2 month, 2.5 month, 3 month adult break. It gives you more time to like play with your grow up yearlings, take pictures. You know what I mean? It sort of like recontextualizes your collection. So that's why another reason to like look forward to it in some ways.
I have probably 150 adult and sub-adult ball pythons, and the thought of 100 colubrids is a little terrifying. But they're squirmy, but like I have to be on my game so they don't run away from me.
Yeah, they will run away right away.
Yeah,
that's why you gotta like play with them, but you need time to play with them when the adults go to sleep. Because I don't really like. I pick my holdbacks before brumation time, but I don't feel like I really get a chance to like get to know them until adults go down. Is that crazy?
Yeah, and that's the one thing I tell people who come to me and ask me about the breeding experience is that one of the things I didn't anticipate was how little time I actually have to spend with the snakes. Right, yeah. My 8 or 10 snakes that I spent a ton of time handling. Even now, 3 years later, they react differently than the rest of the snakes. Right, there's more trust, that they're more relaxed. So I missed that portion of it. But I'm 15 clutches into this year, short of where I wanted to be, but no, it's still a big jump from 4 clutches last year. And I'm just as excited as I was last year every time I have egg spin. That doesn't matter what they are.
Well, what are your primary projects you're working in ball pythons?
I really enjoy albino, so clearly I don't do this for the money. But that's what really drew me into ball pythons as an adult. Right, I remember being in college and seeing my first albino, not being able to afford $1,200 to buy one. Mm-hmm. And 3-4 years ago, I mean, this is an awful story. If my wife hears this, she's going to beat me. But I had some kind of an argument with her. I'm like, screw this. You know what? I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to go back and get snakes again. Yeah, that's not a great way to set arguments, by the way.
At least it wasn't like a sports car or a stripper or whatever that you got, to get back at your wife. It was a snake. So that's fine. I think it's fine. She forgives you.
I think she would have been better with a sports car.
Really? Well, what is the buy-in from the wife and family right now? Are they like tolerating the husband's activities, or are they like, oh, this is cool, or they see like the financial side, they're like, maybe if it works out?
No, she rolls her eyes, and she doesn't normally come down here. Yeah, but when I brought home the first 3, I thought I was just gonna keep pets, but all females anyway, just in case I changed my mind, which only took like 2 months. Well, we had a huge argument. I thought she was gonna pack her bags and leave. It was that bad.
Oh no.
She does not like snakes, right? They remind her of worms, and she's definitely afraid of worms.
Okay.
For whatever reason.
Does she like lizards? Sometimes if they don't like snakes, they can like lizards because they have legs.
No, she doesn't like any animals.
Okay.
We have 2 kids. They're teenagers, so that's our quota of animals, I guess.
Was she from a family that didn't have pets?
Growing up as a young girl, she had a dog.
Okay.
Right? She lived in the mountains, and then this dog went everywhere with her because she didn't have playmates. And then when she went away to school, she came home one day, dog was just gone. Like I guess her dad had just up and sold the dog because he was getting old and he wasn't useful. Yeah, so my wife grew up in China, so she spent a lot of her youth living in the mountains, in orchards and stuff like that. So it was.
She was scared of snakes?
She
was scared of snakes because she was living.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? No,
they scare her because they remind her of worms. Well, more than she is scared of the snakes, but she doesn't normally want any contact with them. I've gotten her to hold a couple once or twice, but it's something that I've learned not to push.
Okay. I always wondered, the Chinese folk tales about white snakes specifically.
I have not heard that one. I mean, white represents death, right? So
oh no,
that's not from a superstition wise. That's not good. But my mom flips out. I'm like, what are you doing with all these snakes? They're bad. I'm like, I'm not superstitious. With all the freaking snakes I have, if it was bad luck, I'd be dead already.
Yeah, I don't know which tradition it is, but there's a Chinese folk tale of a white snake who's can transform into a woman. And she has like a girlfriend, green snake, and she marries a human man. Do you know this story?
I most certainly do not.
That's why they love to import from certain regions, like Texas leucistic snakes, because they were like a cheap all white snake. And so, to the people who knew the story, it was sentimental. Is that weird? Ask your wife. Ask your wife.
There's all sorts of of stories. Like my wife will sit there and laugh at me sometimes because I'll tell her a story that I've heard, and then I'll get it wrong, right? I'll get all the details wrong, and then she'll just laugh at me. She's like, "Oh, you mean this?" I'm like, don't make fun of me because like I'm educated and illiterate. Like, what do you mean?
How did she feel about turtles? Because they're
She
like
will come down and feed the turtle every once in a while. I have a Greek tortoise that someone gave up that I have in the corner that is relatively tame.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly a snake person, but I've got that tortoise. I have the blue tongue skink that I got from the auction here.
Does she like that, or is that too weird?
No, she doesn't like any of them. She'll come down, she'll look at them, and then she'll walk away. But she at least feeds the tortoise every so often.
That's good.
A big step in the right direction.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, what cultural differences impact like this hobby. Can this hobby exist anywhere in the world? And then you're like, yeah, they're like, some people like animals and some people don't. But then you're like, if there's a whole culture of people who like value other things, other status symbols of wealth, like a convertible or whatever, they just won't want a big snake facility in their backyard. That's like a very specific status symbol. So that's interesting.
I mean, but Asia is a really fast-growing reptile market. Snakes too, right? You look at South Korea, Japan, even parts of China, Malaysia, and Thailand. So, I mean, the market's there, right? Not everyone is superstitious. Now, I don't know how many of these animals are going to make wine, but there are definitely sales.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in China right this second, but if you produce enough colubrids because they're non-CITES, you will get Chinese buyers all day, every day. And a lot of people, Chinese American from New York area, for some reason, also probably because there's enough of a Chinese expat community there. They could still speak, I'm assuming, Mandarin, and talk back to the people there, broker the deal. And so I'll get New York Chinese American buyers brokering deals for Chinese people in China.
Yeah. I mean, I could certainly see that happening. I don't speak any Mandarin, so
come on, Will, you should be the ball python broker.
Maybe for people in Hong Kong, but
okay.
And I tell people with a straight face, right? I'm such a failure as a Chinese person. I don't speak any Mandarin. I'm uneducated, illiterate. Like you just tossed me out of the tribe.
Well, do you eat chicken feed? Do you eat chicken feed?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they still accept you then. You're in the club.
I mean, I can speak Cantonese. I just don't speak any Mandarin. Right. So like when the wife wants to say stuff, she'll speak Mandarin so that I don't understand that. I'm like, you're so
that is dirty.
Like, I'm gonna start speaking Spanish around here.
Do Cantonese people want to buy steaks? Are you going to be the in for the Cantonese part of China that wants snakes, or is this like a mostly Mandarin thing? I don't know. Fill me in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't necessarily have any of those connections. Although, I mean, I have some relatives who do import and export for a living, but I'm not really that plugged into that community where I know which people want snakes. I mean, I'm amazed that there's a breeder that's about an hour away in Jersey who happens to be very Chinese and is breeding and selling ball pythons. I'm like, like, none of your family give you shit for this? And she's like, yeah, they're all in China. I'm an adult. They keep saying it. I'm like, that's great. You go tell my mom.
No, that is cool. I mean, I find it very fascinating because it's something that you kind of like superficially know about, that like there are other markets out there for ball pythons and different kinds of snakes. And then like, how do you access them? And obviously we can see morph markets other countries, but there's no Chinese morph market. So like, obviously, you know, I don't know. I don't know if the CCP wants morph market, but so we'll ignore that part. But like, there's a whole thing out there that I don't know. I gotta find like an import exporter who wants to talk about
Well,
it.
I'm just not familiar with that section of the market because China plays by a different set of rules, right? What things are they censoring and restricting? You know, I don't know. I think I've only been back to China once as an adult, so it was definitely an interesting experience. But you know, I don't have enough like family that's back there to be able to broker some of those connections. Although
Right.
I mean, I probably could if I really wanted to, because my wife's family, they still have friends and some relatives back there. So, but you know, it's not like I have anything that really is of value that's worth being shipped over there either.
Yeah, I mean, like for the CITES animals, I think it's not necessarily worth it per se, but because of the non-CITES animal shipping is so cheap, people will buy, you know, a bunch of corn snakes. Like it's not the most expensive ones. They'll buy 10 cheap ones and export those.
I mean, I'm very rapidly running out of space in this basement, right? I have my office over here in the corner. I have my 3 monitors for work. And then everything else you see around you is racks.
Nice. Well, do you think for your business that's the max you want to do, or do you have like ambitions?
I think that this is too many. I think I'd like to be right around 120 or so breeding adults, maybe 30 to 40 grow outs, and then the rest hatchlings. And I'm about 50 to 80 snakes over that now. And you know, just all this maintenance is hectic, right? I want to be able to do water changes more than once a week, and I can't get there. My first group of like 20 or 30 snakes, I was doing water changes every day, fresh water. And you know, not that I necessarily want to go back to changing it daily, but well, like sometimes it takes me a little bit more than a week to get through all these racks, right? And these tops are a little messier than I would like. So I do notice the husbandry is slipping a little bit. So slowly, you know, I'm selling off adults as they're breeding and laying eggs, and I'm not replacing them.
Okay. And you're going to focus on albino? You did buy a lot of pieds. Do you like pied too?
I have a lot of pieds. I have a lot of clown. I have albino. I have lavender. I just like collecting recessives. My primary goal is to start off with a lot of double visuals. Right. From there, I can start mixing additional genes into them, so I can make doubles with 3, 4, 5 codoms in them. I can make triple visuals with codoms in them, because you know what, just the double and triple visuals, they're kind of boring, and they don't hold value for very long. Right? It's really working with them and adding stuff in that's fun. Hopefully late this year, early next year, I'll have my first group of clown pieds that I've bred myself, and then as they grow up, I should be able to throw 3, 4, and 5 gene pieds, and the same thing with clowns at them to make a visual that's also a het for the second recessive, and then I can really start mixing genes in there.
Can I ask you a spicy question?
Sure.
So this is like, God, I don't know how to say this politely. So this is like a plan that sounds good, right? Because like we're doing multi-recessive, whatever. But what is Will think the 4D chess move is in the market that thinks it wants multi-recessives with codoms?
I don't necessarily care what the market wants. Right?
What? Okay.
I don't, right? I make the snakes because I like them. Hence the albinos. Right? They sell like crap. Right? Except to pet owners. Right? Because they're nice, they're high contrast. They're not going to make a ton of money, but you know what? That's okay. I like working with them. I like making things like bells and banana combos. Just because they're fun. I get a lot of variety out of them. So that's what I'm doing it now. When everyone was saying, "Oh, you just have to make multi-recessives, screw the codoms," my first thought was, there's a place for them. I don't agree with that. So I'm gonna do what I think is right. And at the end of the day, I'm selling snakes, right? If I get $100, $500, $1,000, I'm selling freaking snakes. All right, my sorry ass could be at the mall selling popcorn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we're in the snake selling business, not the snake making and holding back indefinitely business, right? So if we're just making, like, sometimes I'm like, maybe right now I shouldn't make any triples hets because like the males are worth nothing. The females would be my holdbacks, so I could make some of them. But if everyone does that too much, you don't really have anything to sell. You know what I mean? They're just like normal or whatever, blackhead, triple heads. Who cares, right? Nobody cares.
I'm throwing a lot of math and odds at this, right? The thought of making triple heads and having so much byproduct that does not appeal to me, right? I will buy a double visual or visual with a head. Usually at a discount and something that's a good deal because I am Asian, right? I got to live up to that. And I will mix two separate double visuals to make a visual that's a double head, and then I can throw numbers at it, right? If I have one male and 3 or 4 females, that gives me pretty good odds for the triple, right? Instead of making like 30 triple heads that don't sell really well because they don't look anything special, right? I have something that's guaranteed to be recessive. Like I would rather take a little bit longer and do things that way. Because at the end of the day, right, if I make a snake, I don't want it to be cobra food, right? I would like someone to take it home and either use it as a breeder or use it as a pet, right? For a $20 normal, especially for a male, that there's very little value in that. But when that snake's $200 or $300, now it's a different story, and so someone's much less likely to just put into the corner and forget about it.
What's your market like for that $200-$300 snake? Because sometimes people will buy them here, but a lot of times people are like, too much money. Like the pet price has fallen to like sub 200 here. And then little baby breeders might buy $200-$300 snakes, but there's not a lot of pet buyers in like the premium, maybe $200 to $500 pet price range.
I mean, but prices are definitely a little bit depressed, right? I've seen bells selling for like $200 to $250 for the last year and a half, 2 years.
I've seen them for $90.
Wow.
Not every show, but I have seen them for $90.
Well, that's impressively low. I think 175 is the cheapest I've seen it at, but I'll see that every couple of shows, right? Yeah. So it's not super uncommon. And like I'm more frog, you still see them for like 350, 400. I'm like, oh, I wish. That's a buy one get one free for like $400.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's not every buddy, and I just sold a bell for 300, so like it's not everywhere either. It's just some shows are like a cesspool of like depressed pricing. So like everyone there is convinced everything's falling apart all the time, and so they all like crash. Have you ever seen a show like that, or you ever like felt a show like that?
I haven't, but I
That's good.
really try to like stay away. I'm in New York City, right? There's nothing around. So the closest show that I could find was Having to Grace, right? That you speak so lonely about. Two and a half hours, 2 hours, 45 minutes away.
It could have gotten better since 20 years ago when I was there. So,
you don't find vendors that bring snakes with mites jumping everywhere. Thank goodness.
Yay!
So, for the most part, it's relatively clean. It's still a small show. The breeders, or at least the low end of the breeders, they're still a little bit better than at Hamburg. I remember I bought my bull snake at Hamburg, and I had like 10 snakes, right? I didn't know any better. They were mites crawling all over the snake, and I bought them anyway.
Okay, sorry.
Never do that again. But brought him home, treated him with Frontline. Haven't had to worry. Mm-hmm. But I definitely wouldn't do that again.
Yeah. So you're into different projects. Have you come to the point where you're like, you need to consolidate triples so that you don't have too many different variants of triples, so you have space, because you have like a space limit?
I am very, very quickly running out of space, and I will have to at some point. But right now, I'm still getting away with selling some of these single gene females that I've grown up, and that gets me back some of the space, right? There was a point in time where it didn't seem like a bad idea to buy like 3 or 4 yellow belly females and grow them up to make ivories.
Mm-hmm.
If I could go back and smack myself, I would, right? But you live and learn.
Right. I mean, sometimes I'm like torn, because right now, like selling those females off into the marketplace, they're not very expensive, which is fine, right? They could go be someone else's new starter snake. But then I'm like, if you're not space limited, should you sell adult females ever? What do you think about that?
If you have a use for them, then you should use them, because you're going to get more value back breeding them than by selling them off.
That's right, Quirky. It sure did.
It most absolutely did, multiple times. That like I did the math. A medium rat cost me, it's like $325 to buy a frozen thawed one. Probably a little bit cheaper since I'm buying them in bulk. But it only cost me like $87 or whatever to feed one adult female for the entire year, assuming they actually take 26 meals, right? So it doesn't cost a ton, right? Whereas it costs $120, $130 to feed a hatchling.
Right. So, people make up a lot of stories about how it costs them $1,000 to carry an adult female ball python a year, but they're usually including like a separate facility, maybe with a mortgage on that, the electricity, the labor of employees, and that's where they're getting that number from. But I think for like the mom and pop baby breeder, your carrying cost for a female shouldn't be $1,000 a year. You know what I mean? Yeah, you ever heard that? People have said that. And I'm like, the fuck rats are you buying? Are they gold plated?
When you listen to some of the more business oriented YouTube channels, like someone like a Jason's Exotics, he had an entire episode where he went through it and he broke down the cost of keeping these snakes, including the cost of electricity. I
Mhm.
He actually broke that down, but which is pretty impressive. Uh, and it costs more than most of us think it does, but not nearly uh, as much as we think. Like it wouldn't make sense for me to breed a bunch of normals. I definitely lose money selling those. But if I make babies that cost, I don't know, $150 on average, right? That first clutch, assuming I have 6 or 7 hatchlings I can sell, I make the money back uh, for my 2 adults that I bought in order to make that pairing. If I pair
Mhm.
them again the following year, even with the food cost, now I'm in the black and it's positive.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
my,
Go- Oh, I
my
guess what
issue,
I'm saying is people shouldn't breed bad or low end snakes a lot because we don't need more of those. But the cost basis sort of rationale doesn't actually make any sense. It's more about time and space. Like, do you need the space and time? So then it doesn't really matter what she sells for. But sometimes I'm like, what's the point of selling her for $50? I won't breed her next year, but I'll just keep her. For some of these snakes.
yeah, like if I can make an interesting pairing, then I'll breed them. I'm not breeding, just to breed, right? But I'll take a 2 or 3 codon gene animal and breed it to like a 4 or 5 codon gene animal. Because I want to see what I'm going to make and come out, and it minimizes the opportunity for making normals, right? But
Right.
then I cut a clutch of eggs that have started pipping, and I'm getting crazy combinations, and that's fun, right?
Hmm.
And then when I go to a show, now I have a story to tell. Like, look, that these all have the same parents, right?
Right.
And it's a way to engage people in that conversation.
Yeah. I just Hmm. It's not fun that female ball pythons are so badly devalued, but like it's fine. But I think that's sometimes I'm just like, I'm just gonna shelve them. I'm not gonna sell them, but I will shelve them for 2 years or whatever and worry about it. I'll take care of them, but I'm not gonna breed them because I don't know. I don't necessarily need to accrue money for them, but I don't need the space necessarily. But I also don't want to try to sell their babies either. But I don't know. I also don't want to sell them for $50.
Well, I mean, I'm also lucky enough to have an outfit like Outback that comes to all the local shows. If I need to wholesale something,
Can I ask you a
it's
spicy question?
yeah,
What's his wholesale rate? Like 30 cents on
probably
a dollar or
20 to 30 cents
okay.
to the dollar. Uh, I think for like a normal male hatchling, $6, right? But
Mhm.
here,
At least he's paying you $6. Well, the other ones are like you can send it to us for free.
well, I've seen people put them on the table for a $5 donation, and they don't get rid of any of them. It's crazy.
What?
I just don't have the space anymore. Otherwise, I take them because I enjoy raising them and handling them, getting them tame. I'll give them away as pets.
Yeah, that
Right.
would be better. Or donate it to your teacher, a local teacher, a local classroom.
Uh, but living in New York City, pythons aren't allowed anymore.
Right. Well, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
Are the
yeah,
police coming right now?
yeah,
FBI, open up.
yeah. It would be that they got to go, or you're gonna get fined. But if nobody complains and no one snitches on you, it's not an issue. Uh, I forget who I was talking to, but there are people in the 5 boroughs, football pythons, berms for ticks, freaking anacondas. Like, how the hell do you keep an anaconda in a breeding stock in New York City? That's impressive.
Does the snake collection and that rule make you want to move? one day, you're like, yeah, that'd be better to be in Pennsylvania anyway, because then I could be free to do whatever.
I mean, the thought of getting out of the city area and not having to pay all these extra expenses uh, is nice, right? But my family is here, and this area makes the wife happy, so like I kind of have to grit my teeth. Like last summer, we're running Central Air full tilt for the month. I was paying $350, $400 a month for electricity.
Mm-hmm.
This summer, it's $800 a month. I'm like,
it was really hot.
Effing kidding! It's not hotter than it was last summer.
It wasn't. You didn't have like the 100-degree wave that the East Coast had, or whatever, for a couple weeks.
I mean, we did, but we had that last summer too, where for a week or two, it was well into the 90s, and the Central Air was just running, and like the rates have doubled, and because it's a monopoly, where am I going to talk to? Do I not pay for electricity?
Yeah, I'm in. I do like 700-800 all summer long because it's hot. And it is really dumb because I like have racks that are on, but I'm cooling the air around it, but the rack's heating it up. So like in the peakest, hottest part of the summer, I do unplug racks and go ambient, but still not good.
I mean, down in the basement running the Central Air, it's usually about 75 to 77 degrees down here.
Mm-hmm.
If I turn the Central Air off and I open the windows, it runs into the 80s, and it starts to get a little warm for the colubrids. And plus, I have a Dion's here, and it's like, yeah, I can't leave it in the 80s for this poor thing. She's going to die on me.
What kind did you get? What color?
It's just the normal black one. I was at Hamburg, and like out of the corner of my eye, I see this gleaming little worm that like she was like iridescent. I'm like, I gotta have it. It's only $40. Or give me
$40 for a Dion's rat snake?
Yeah.
That's a deal.
She
you see those deals, send them to me.
She was like 8 inches long, but like if I saw them now, I'd just buy all of them.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anybody. It was like my second or third month of getting back into snakes, and it was like a whole new world to me.
Well, what do you think about that? Like that, when something is rare, people will change the price of it, right? Just because it's rare. But then, like, it was just $40. It was just a happy pet. Now it's like a speculative investment vehicle, but it's just a stupid little snake. Is that good feeling or is that bad feeling? Am I like psycho because I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Sorry.
It's got to be rare, but people have to want it, right? I have a number of genes that you don't see a lot, right? I have Citron that I got from Triforce. I have Shredder, which is a granite type gene that I got from Monroe Morphs. They don't carry a premium, even though they're uncommon. It's because the demand isn't there. Now, if I can get Justin to talk about them, that'd be a different story. But that's not the case.
Do you think you can make somebody want Shredder by promoting it? Or do you think you do not have enough clout magic to do that?
I definitely don't have enough clout. Who the hell am I, right? I'm one of like 80 billion, wannabe breeders.
Well, sometimes I'm like, yeah, that's true. But then I'm like, every time you talk to someone and be like, I love Shredder. Shredder is the best. It does this, this, this. It is so awesome. You are putting one feather on the scale of it is cool into the world. What do you think of that?
That's true, but I haven't even figured out
if really Shredder's cool or not.
Right, because I have 3 of them. I have a male and 2 females that are butter shredders, and you know they're a little bit different, right? The
Do you
color is
think they're
different.
different than the other ones?
Well, they're
Nanny,
different
shrapnel.
from just a single gene butter or lesser, right? I can see that there's a difference, but I certainly haven't worked enough with it to be able to pick it out in combos or anything, right? And you know, that's another thing, right? Like a Babu got started early enough where he could pair a lot of single genes together and he could see those combinations. I don't get to do that. What the hell am I going to do with a bunch of like Mojaves and Enchis? You know, I would friggin' read myself into bankruptcy.
Yeah. It's almost like you have to train the codom eye on or within the context of a double recessive project or something, or triple or whatever. Like you made the 3 variants, but they're all triple hit, whatever, to learn it. What do you think of that?
No, I mean you're right, but in terms of phenotype, with some genes you get a lot of polymorphism in that visual variance,
Yeah.
right? And just without enough experience, you can't always tell. Plus, you start looking at Morph Market, and you look at all the crap that people miss ID. You know, it's like, oh, what the hell am I looking at? You know, I
Yeah.
mean, thankfully, I'm in enough of these groups where I can go to people and say, hey, what do you see here? This is what I'm thinking based on comps and the limited amount that I've seen. Am I way off? You even take something simple like Mojave, right? It's one of my favorite single genes, but there's a tremendous variance between like a high quality Mojave and a low quality Mojave. You look at it in, say, clown, and you can have two very different looking animals that are Mojave clowns, right? So that's something that's weird for me getting used to.
Yeah. And I guess especially when like triple hets look insane as it is anyway. They're all insane looking. Because the head effect like is multiplicative. It's almost exponential. You're like, oh my god, I don't even. This looks like 3 different genes that it isn't just because it's triple head.
Oh, I love it. Go on Facebook and people just randomly guessing. It's like, hey, can you pull any more out of your butt, please? Keep going.
Well, we've all misid'd something, so it's okay. What do you think about the state of morph market for a sweet baby ball python breeder? What do you?
The numbers are lower than what they were, but what I'm finding is it's very hit and miss. I'll go 2 or 3 weeks, but without anything, and out of nowhere, I'll get 5 people message me for animals, and it seems to
Are
be.
you doing a lot of local pickup because you live somewhere with 8 million people?
Uh, you know, I do a few local pickups here and there, but people from California really love to buy my snakes for whatever reason, pay that shipping across the country. I don't get it. But, you know, who am I to complain?
Okay. Yeah. Do you think it's high end, low end, mid end on morph market for you? I don't know what price points you're selling at per se, but like,
I mean, I have a lot of pet quality stuff. Like all my stuff, except for a handful, is under, say, like $400. Right, I have a lot of $100 and $200 stuff. You know, I mean, it sells okay, right? It sells at shows too.
Were you on morph market selling a lot last year? You only had 4 clutches.
You know, the auctions helped a lot, right?
Okay.
It gave me animals to sell that like what I didn't want to keep. But
Okay.
I mean, I found that a lot of those are slow to move too, and yeah, there's not a lot of profit, right? It's fine for me to buy like a pair of things and decide to keep one, say the female, and move the other. It
Mm-hmm.
typically doesn't make a ton of sense for me to try to pick up something cheap just to turn around and sell it, right? I was doing that before disease was really a thought in my mind, and now I'm a lot more
Mm-hmm.
of it. And I'm like a freaking crackhead. I buy something, I'm keeping it for 2, 3, 4 months, making sure it's healthy and it's
Mm-hmm.
eating
Well, that's
before
good.
I turn around and move it. Right? If I wanted to make money, I need to buy it and turn around and move it. And you know, I can't do that for the most part because they're still living animals. I still want to make sure that they're okay, even though someone else produced them. If I sell them, I'm taking on the responsibility of
Mm-hmm.
supporting that because now it's under my name.
Well, how long? I know some people are like, if you keep it for a month and you resell it, it's not flipping. But some people are like, you have to keep it for a year. Do you think 3 months is a safe amount of like quarantine-ish time that you're not really a flipper anymore? You were just habituating it, checking it, and then selling it. Is
Yeah,
that
I mean,
weird?
2 or 3 months is decent, right? But like sometime, like I'll pick up something at auction, and someone I know in one of the groups will see it. It's like, oh, are you moving that? You
Mhm.
know, in that case, I don't have an issue moving it, but I'm not going to go buy something and get it on Tuesday and put it on my table on Saturday without knowing that it eats, that it's actually healthy. Because, I bought hatchlings that eat, that grow, and then I pop them in the tub one day and it's just dead, right?
Mhm.
And something was wrong with it genetically. And the thought of that, bothers me, right? Selling something to someone where there's something wrong with it and it just dies, right? That doesn't sit well with me. I can't control a lot of that stuff, but what I can control, keeping it for a little while, making sure it's healthy, making sure it's not going to try to take my face off, every time I pop open a tub. Uh, I feel like for a living animal that you're going to spend 30 years with, if you take care of it properly, that's the least I can do.
Jen says that you could make Shredder happen.
Yeah, I'd have to start posting on IG. Like I'm active in the chats and I talk. I hate posting, right? I just
You do?
wanna.
You don't like a picture book of your collection? That sort of idea?
No, that's actually not a bad idea. But like the thought of posting 2 or 3 times on Instagram every day, that makes me want to put my head into a wall.
Yeah. You don't have to do that. I'm just saying, like, to sometimes it's not always true, but sometimes if someone stopped posting on Instagram, that to me starts to be like a death knell. Where I'm like, oh no, are they getting out or are they just like busy? And then I think about it that way. And so then not that everyone's like, even fucking Andrew hasn't posted anything. Powerhouse Pythons. Post something, Andrew, for a long time. It just makes you look like you're participating, even if your local community knows you are. It's just to the national community, it looks like you're participating. What do
Yeah,
you think of that?
I mean, I think what I have to do is set but like a calendar reminder to post at least once a week because I don't even do that on average.
Yeah, you could
And
like schedule it, you know.
but I like doing things that are fun, right? But like that Firefly Highway that was in the mug, but like I
Mhm.
came up with that spur of the moment. My daughter helped set it up, but we had some polyfill that we stuffed inside the cup so that the snake would sit up, and then we
Mhm.
got a picture,
Right, it was
and then
cute.
yeah, me being me, you know, I had to put like a clever remark behind it, So I posted on Instagram, and it's like, oh, got a cup of noodle soup or something. But like, I like doing stuff like that, just because it's fun, right? Every time I look at it, it makes me chuckle, right?
Yeah,
I,
Bravo Zulu too. Y'all are bad. Post
Yeah.
pictures of your snakes, even if it's like the same snake. I actually don't care. It just looks like you're, I don't know, having fun. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
I don't want it to be mechanical. I think that's it, right?
Mhm.
You know, I enjoy doing this, and I want that to show.
Right. That's why like high vis is once or twice a week. That's pretty good. That's enough. I'm satisfied with that. I just like, oh no, they haven't posted in like 6 months or whatever. And I'm like,
You know,
which you're
I'm
not
just
doing that bad yet, so you're fine.
so busy now. But when I started collecting snakes, COVID had started. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, we didn't have to go to the office every day. I was bored out of my mind at work. So I started finding other things to do. And you know, now I can barely come up for air. So
Mhm.
it's gotten busy. Like school is starting tomorrow morning, and with school starts the scouting year. So you know, it's 2 meetings every week. It's camping trips every month. You know, it's like I'm tired. Like Wednesday nights, if I set foot in the door before say like 10:30, I'm pretty happy, right? And the one time a month where I slept my sorry ass up at 5 in the morning so that I can drive an hour and a half into the office, 2.5 to 3 hours back, and then I grab my son, bring him to his meeting, and then by the time I walk in the door, I'm like a freaking zombie.
Mhm.
Uh, like I don't want to do anything.
Right. So you think you need to reduce your collection size from where it is to reduce the possibility of burnout? Do you have any other like tips for people in
Well,
terms of
you
how
know,
you manage burnout?
don't be me.
I'm not
Uh,
laughing.
I tell everyone that, right? I started January of 21 with 3 snakes. And by the time December hit, I was up to like 60 or 70. Don't do that. You know, the live and learn. In my head, I saw where I wanted to be, and I got ahead of myself, and I grew way too quickly. Right? I mean, like 2 months ago, my freezer was stocked with like $1,500 in rodents, empty. I'm like, oh, I have some pups in there, and that's it. So the collection definitely needs to downsize. I haven't found that happy medium yet, though.
Uh, when you first started out, did you think you wanted to be a big reptile breeder, or you were just like, I just want 15 snakes
No, no,
for fun?
I definitely don't want to be a big reptile breeder. I don't
Okay,
want.
no, you were never like under delusions of grandeur. That's all right. Good.
No,
That's
you
good.
know, I want to enjoy. But when I decided I was going to breed, I did set a goal for myself, right?
Hmm.
I wanted this to be self-sustaining. Getting there,
Hmm.
right? I'm not there yet. I set a time limit and a goal, right? I have this many years where I want to be able to hit these numbers. Now, working backwards, what do I need to do to get from point A to like point D, right?
Hmm.
In order to make this number at the end of a given year, how much time do I need? And how do I need to grow that collection? So I try to think of it logically. At the same time, knowing me, I'm risk averse. You're
Hmm.
never gonna see me drop $30,000 on a new morph because I don't ever want that pressure of, you know what, I need this sucker to grow up so I can breed it to anything and everything so I can make my money back.
Hmm.
I mean, let these things take their time, right? I'm not going to breed them at 1,200 grams uh, because honestly, you look at any other animal, you look at humans, when you start having children too young, there's a long-term implication. Well, why should snakes be any different, right? Let them get to 1,600 grams. Let them be 3 or 4 years old. Where age-wise and size-wise, they're definitely mature and ready, because these things live a long time, right? This isn't a tricolor hog that lives 5 years.
So do you think like the needing to get an ROI on a particular animal hurts the ball python hobby, or it's just the way it's going to be?
I mean, it doesn't, right? Not everyone is me. Not everyone thinks like me, and that's a good thing. So some people are more suited for but buying new morphs and working with them and getting the return on investment, right? I talk to enough breeders where I know you look at next year's hatchlings, they don't command what the original animal commands, but you make your money back and then some. But on the other hand, what if you get an animal that just doesn't do well, or that that dies, or something's wrong genetically? You always run that risk. Well, we're working with living things, and I'd rather not deal with that. If I'm buying a $30,000 male, I'm probably buying a bunch of $15,000 and $20,000 females to go along with it, and that's $100,000 I do not have.
Right. A lot of these like hypothetical scenarios of investing, actually none of us are in the position to even pretend to be like in that investment threshold. So it's like a moot point anyway. Like my opinion of a $30,000 ball python is irrelevant because I don't have that much and I'm not going to buy one anyway. So it doesn't matter.
But the economics work the same with like $3,000 to $5,000 animals, right?
Sometimes, like the normal price curve falls were fine for a long time, but they were exaggerated. Let's put that very gently. And so you used to be able to recoup the monetary value of the parents, usually in the first generation of clutch is born, sometimes the second. This time is like the banana time, where it's going to take multiple reproduction events to recoup the cost, which is fine, right?
Yeah, I mean, which is fine, because you're doing this because you enjoy working with the animals and you want to see what you're gonna create. If you just want to make the money, there are easier ways to make money, right? My brother looks at me all the time, and it's like, that there are easier ways to have a side hustle. Like you don't have to do this, put in all this work. I'm like, I enjoy this.
Well, then doesn't matter how much you make then, really. Is there something you want to do to fluff out your show display, Coco, or your own frozen rodents that you resell or something to like pad out sales numbers? No.
I mean, that like I have the t-shirts, right? I made a couple of hats. I keep joking with my son that I'm gonna make a pair of shorts. I'm gonna have a complete outfit. But I do this stuff because it's fun, right? You buy a snake from me, like, here's a pen, or here's a hat, here's a shirt. This is a thank you for trusting me enough to give me your business.
So no purses with possums on it.
I don't have that talent. I tried making like little necklaces with like little pieces of snake sheds to get my
like resin art.
Yeah. And it's like, all right, kiddos. Right, here you go. I bought these for you. You sell them. You keep half the money.
Yeah.
We get to a show. Head down on the table. They're snoring away. I'm like, freaking kids. So
Right, that is like a idea that could work if your kids are interested in doing it. Also, Tires Clutch Chad wants C&C Python's Hoochie Daddy gym shorts. So get on it.
I may end up making a few just to have them because it'll be funny.
I'd buy
but
it. Not for me, for my husband.
I mean, how would I look walking into like Oaks with my hat on sideways? I got my jersey on. I got a pair of shorts on. All of it's C&C Python Factory themed.
It would be awesome. Let's be honest.
yeah. I need someone to video it, the entrance stuff.
All right. Well, speaking of shows, we have a lot of big shows coming up. Dallas, ARPE, Bob's show, Tinley. Do you have any ambitions to attend or vend a big national show just to meet friends and see big people? Whatever.
Next year for 2025, it's my goal to go to one of those shows. Right. I think I had wanted to go to Tinley in 2023, and then someone offered up an ultrasound for about the same price. I'm like, this thing's brand new in the box, and they just never used it. I can get it for cheap. Do I know how to use an ultrasound? Still no, but it's a useful tool, right? I need to go kidnap a sonographer somewhere and bring him back and get him to show me how to use it correctly.
You just gotta find the gallbladder and then go down.
I can find the gallbladder pretty reliably. I'm like, oh, look, there's an egg. Wait, it disappeared. Where'd it go? The hell? Why can't I find it again? So I just don't have that technique down yet. And plus they're squirming and moving, and getting one of these kids to come and help and hold the snake or to hit the freeze button. It's like pulling teeth sometimes. It's like, help your dad out.
Chris is here. What's up? And you need more lube, clearly. All right, let's take a lube break.
I have a 5-liter jug of lube that I haven't even opened yet.
That's a lot. It's an industrial amount of lube. Oh my god, that's funny.
I bought the ultrasound machine. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna need this.
I just got like the little one 3 years ago. I've never even used it all.
What I wasn't thinking, right? So I bought the ultrasound even before it was shipped to me. I'm like, all right, let me get the lube. Let me have.
If y'all need any wholesale lube, we'll hook you up.
I mean, I could. It's pretty funny.
That's true. An ultrasound gel wrestling competition at the next Tinley. Wouldn't that be great? So you're thinking about Tinley this year or next year?
Next yelike probably. I mean, just roughly crunching the math, it would probably cost me like $1,200 to $1,500 to like go, including expenses, and like $1,200 to $1,500. I'd rather buy a couple of racks or like buy a couple of more snakes right now, right? It makes more sense. But I do want to go just for the experience. But I don't think I want to vend any of those shows. I just want to go and hang out.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to drive down to Charlotte or Georgia and then not fly? Or do you not want to do that? Or is that not cool enough? Is it not cool enough?
I need a passenger with me to do the drive along with me. As I've gotten older, I can't sit in a car for 8 hours and drive anymore. I have to stop every couple of hours. Otherwise, like my back hurts. I start to get sleepy.
It's brutal.
It's awful. Like, I just got old all of a sudden.
I know, God. Elder millennial problems. Here we come.
I mean, the days of being in college with the 15% tints all around. But now it's like, man, I can't see jack shit.
Oh, God. You're making me sad. Yeah, it is brutal to like I would love to do all of the big national shows just to fly in and be like, I'm here to be friends, but it would cost 10,000 a year to do all of those shows. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. And then Chris is interested in a ultrasound gel wrestling competition. So that's excellent.
Well, I have a bad shoulder, so I can referee it. I can't. I can't wrestle.
Okay.
Like my son picks on me now. Yeah, like he's 14, right? He's like, "Look at you broken old man," and then he'll push me into a wall. I'm like, "Well, that's elder abuse, kid."
Well, what stage in the process do you want to be ready to vend a national level show, or do you think you'll ever be ready? Like, what? Because a lot of people are like, "I deserve to vend," and you're like, "Do you?" It's very weird. There's a weird tension between like, do you deserve to vend? Should their wait list be 3 years long? Should you get on the list just because you might be ready 3 years from now? Like where you fall on all that?
I don't know if I'm ever going to produce that grade of animal. Right. And if I'm ever going to work one of those shows, I'd rather go and help someone behind a table a couple of times and see what it's like and see if I really want to do this before I try to commit to it. And you know what? I only breed ball pythons, at least for now. But like, what national level show wants me?
Dallas, there's still open tables at Dallas. You could sign up and vend today. It's only 20 hours away from your house, so you will need to leave yesterday to get there on time.
I mean, the thought of like packing a bunch of snakes and sending them freight overnight to Dallas and then hopping on a flight, yeah, and I'm good.
Yeah, so Dallas is interesting because it's a bigger space. But there's no ball python breeder restrictions or whatever right now. But in the future, there might be. So that's why it's like, even if you didn't make money, I'm not saying you have to do it, but like if someone was around here and they didn't make money, you would at least have a spot in perpetuity if you signed up soon.
Yeah.
I
mean, but my goal this year was to sell enough snakes to be able to cover what I spend on rats. And I'm close. I'm not quite there, but by the end of the year, I might actually make it, considering, all the hatchings I have. If I even sell half of them, I'll hit that target, right? And then next year, I'd like to double whatever I sell this year. So every year, I push myself a little bit further. I mean, I think I would at least be 3 or 4 years away from even thinking about doing a national level show and dealing with that level of expense.
Okay. Well, I think the future is in flux. I think the future national level show may be a show that doesn't even exist today because the power dynamics are shifting all the time. There's all this stuff happening and new shows showing up and new circuits that are doing better than old circuits. So it's like, there's always a chance for a will to take it to the next level. What do you think of that?
I mean, if it happens, it happens, right? I am certainly not quitting my my day job here.
Okay, good. Is there a place in the country that you think there should be a national level show that there isn't currently, like outside of New York City or whatever?
Bring one to Pennsylvania or maybe Connecticut, because the Northeast doesn't really have a big show like that. I mean, what's going to come the closest? Maybe a Gettysburg, maybe a Hamburg.
What about Rexpo? Did you hear anybody who vended that?
That's the one that's upstate New York, right?
Yeah. One day, but a really big convention center. And I'm like, does that make any sense?
I think Tyler's vended that, right? Tyler's Toxic Balls?
I don't know. I never heard any news about it. They had like a flashy website, very cool logo. And I'm like, biggest venue ever. One day, though. I was like, what is going on? Like, is that good financially for people to drive in from 15 hours away?
Thought of driving 5 or 6 hours to go to a one-day show and then coming back to I love going to expos. I don't like it that much.
Right. Yeah, I do think the Northeast is missing something. Could be in like I think Philadelphia area suburbs would be fine, because then you could still drive down from wherever or drive up from wherever.
That would be great. And people in Pennsylvania are nuts. There are no rules, right? Like I can't tell you how many times the table next to me has some gators for sale. I'm like, I look across, it's like it's freaking alligators.
Yeah, I give them the stink eye. I'm like, please don't sell gators near me. I'm not gonna party to this bullshit. The gator's gonna end up in the creek, up on the mountain. You know what? I'm like,
But I will take the gators over like the preserved cats in like formaldehyde.
oh no, those are better. That's way better. That's hilarious. Somebody's roadkill picking and put it in the back of the truck and then pickling it.
Oh my god, I've had that happen more than once. Right? I prefer the gators.
Fort Washington area. Where's that at?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Come on, Chris. You're dropping locations that nobody knows. They must not be that cool. Any other closing thoughts? We're sort of like finishing up here. What do you have coming up this year, season-wise, that people should expect from C&C Python Factory?
I am hoping that one of my clown pipe females, the double heads, actually gets enough size where I can pair them. They probably won't lay eggs until 2025, but that's fine. I think I have some dreamsicles that I'm hoping are building. I probably should ultrasound them.
Yeah, get that lube out, brother.
It's getting the kids down here, right? Yeah. Every time I call one of them to help, it's like I'm bringing them down here to beat them.
I don't get them out. I ultrasound them in the tub. How do you do it?
I have started doing that too because it seems to keep them a little calmer.
Yeah, it's just like you're sort of like stealth. You kind of like 2/3 of the way down, go down. You don't even move them. You try to get the outside edge of their coil because that's the tightest part, and the follicles kind of float up. Yeah. And then you just look and you're like, oh, they're all little. I don't even measure them.
I don't like the mess, right? You get the lube all over the place and then you got to wipe them down.
That's like, right. Tell me more. Will's a fluffer, everybody. Don't let him tell you any different. Fort Washington, PA is a Philadelphia suburb. So, says Chris. So, yes, I'm in. Because there's like millions of people. That's what's crazy about the East Coast. I know that all the states are little and they don't count, but there's millions of people really close together. Like it's literally a megalopolis of human meat that could want to buy snakes. Maybe. So it seems really dumb that there's no big show in the Northeast. That's all.
And Pennsylvania is really lax with the rules. Right? I walked by a guy selling a breeding pair of spitting cobras once. I'm like, who in their right mind would want spitting cobras? But why?
And the price is usually like $200 or something crazy. No, it's fine. Let's not make fun of venomous keepers. We love them ish.
Well, I look at venomous people and invert people the way non-snake people look at me, right? So I get it, right? It's still it's like you do you. No thanks.
Is your wife into spiders or anything?
No. She threatened to move out because my daughter wants a tarantula. And my wife's like, yeah, you can have one, but I'm out. I'm going back home to my parents. I'm like, I tell my daughter, like, do you really want a new mother?
What if you bought her something nice every time you buy a snake? Would that work? Does that help? Does that help lubricate the relationship? Pun intended.
You know what? For her 40th birthday, I bought her an LV bag, which hurt because that would have been a really nice snake. Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Thank you, honey, but next time I want one that can go around the waist. I'm like,
Or
what do you mean
crossbody.
next time? There's no next time. You know how much this thing costs?
That's part of why I like do the women's accessories now, because people will buy a snake and they're like, "Oh, my wife's gonna kill me," and they'll just buy her something. It works out actually more than you would think. All right, brother. Tell everybody where they can find you, what you have available for sale, and whatever your show schedule is coming up.
Okay, so I think I'm going to be at Oaks this Saturday on the 7th, and then the weekend of the 21st and the 22nd, I'll be at the Baltimore Repticon at the Maryland Fairgrounds. So that'll be interesting. 2 days. I think I'm going to leave the kids at home. I'm going to bring my friend with me, and we'll just make it a guys' weekend.
Yeah, it's sometimes. So the expenses are more intense, but I like 2-day shows better because then you can, like, I don't know, breathe mentally. You just have to make the money, right?
Well, that's the thing, right? I started doing shows so early that I haven't made the money. If I do like a $600 or $800 show, I'm generally pretty happy, and
Yeah, I would be
need to do better
depressed.
than that.
I am depressed because usually it costs me $500 to be there.
Well, but I'm not driving 6 and 8 hours and staying overnight.
Yeah.
I'm driving 2.
Right. The economics of how snake shows works out is actually there's like a dichotomy between, like, it's local to you, it costs you your time and the table, and you're just like, I'm having fun. It's a 1-day show. And then the huge expense of, like, really far away shows, really big, lots of tables, you're paying help, you're all in for 10K. So if you don't make 20, like, those are big differences in the scale of business. So
yeah, and I don't think I ever want that pressure, right? I've grown up watching people have their own business and all the blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. Yeah, people they'll notice the nice car, or they'll notice a Rolex on your wrist, but they don't see you when you can't sleep at night because business has been down, right? They don't see you trying to make that mortgage payment. So I don't want that pressure. I want to enjoy it. I want to have fun, right? If I can steadily make 600 to 1,000 a show, I don't mind that, right? I don't want to have the pressure of having to make $2,000 or $3,000 per show.
Yeah, good for you. Sometimes it's okay to be like, yeah, this is good enough for me, and I don't need to, like, go nuts.
Well, I mean, if I get there, it's great, but I'm certainly not there yet, and I'm not pushing myself to be there.
Okay. Well, I think you're doing great.
Well, thank you. We'll want some yellow bellies.
Yeah, you gotta do something with that lube, though. It's a little suspicious. So whenever you figure it out, let me know. I will post a fight sheet on the Instagram or whatever.
Well, next time I have a chance, I will take a picture of the big box of lube and send it to you.
Especially as it goes down, you just do like little measurements as you ultrasound and be like, there's 2024 and then January 2025, and then it'll be like, we'll age your lube through time.
I haven't opened it yet. I've had it for a year.
Oh my god! All right, open your lube. It'll be like a christening or whatever, and like a champagne thing.
Well, I have to use the stuff that came with the ultrasound.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Why 5 gallons of lube is really intense.
Well, it's 5 liters, right? So it's
5 liters. Oh, that's better.
It's still a lot.
That is a lot. All right. Sorry, it got really weird at the end. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. All right. Let's say bye to everybody. Bye. Thanks for coming, everybody, and listening.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming. Love you.